grand opening, grand closing. Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers. This is your only friend in these YouTube streets, Porter77, back with another video. And I hope in this video will help you in your discussions, debates with Xbox influencers, fans, fanboys, whatever they like. Because they are continuing to damage control, the disappointment many gamers have with Phil Spencer's statement. In particular, his statement of they can't do things like the blue guy. Let's look real quick on what we're talking about so we could continue on the conversation.
So what we have to do, and we have this unique vision because we see what creators want to do. Creators want to build games that can meet players on any screen. People play with their friends regardless of what other screen they're on. And the console is the core of the Xbox brand. There's no doubt. So like we will stay focused on making sure that console experience is awesome. But I know some people want to hold us up of just being a better green version of what the blue guys do. And I'm just going to say, like, there's not a win for Xbox in staying in the wake of somebody else. We have to go off and do our own thing with Game Pass, with the stuff we do with xCloud, and the way we build our games. Sorry, I was a little long-winded.
No, that was perfect. And
So you heard him. We can't be a better version of the green guys of what the blue guys do. So they got to do things different, whether it's cloud, Game Pass, playing on any device. But this one is kind of insulting because the Xbox community is like talking to the rest of the gaming community as if we don't fundamentally understand what cloud gaming is and what's intentions for and why it would be appealing to a company, especially a company like Microsoft, who's been having trouble selling consoles. It's not a new thing for us. In fact, you are way behind the power curve in terms of trying to tell us what cloud gaming is, because we already seen this movie before almost 9 years ago with PlayStation. This image you see right here is from 2014, 9 years ago. And look at the image. What do you see? PlayStation library games. You see a PS4 right here, right? See a Vita. See the PlayStation 3. You see televisions, tablets, smartphones. Sounds familiar, right? It's not a new concept. In fact, the concept is so old that it even goes before PlayStation. Hello on Live, another platform where you could play games through the cloud on your tablets. OnLive had this device, you could connect it to any TV, and eventually, this was also during the 360 PS3 era, so there wasn't a lot of smart TVs, right? But obviously, if this brand would have been successful, you would have had an OnLive app. Probably would have had it on different sticks, various TVs. It would have grew if it would have been successful. Now, this was during the 360 PS3 era when this topic. So we fundamentally understand cloud gaming. It's not a new topic for us, okay? But you guys are using it, and when I mean you guys, it's the Xbox influencers, enthusiasts that are trying to damage control how Xbox looks. You're using this to sidestep that actual issue. The issue isn't Microsoft's ultimate vision in the long term. That is a long-term goal. We don't have an issue with that. What we have an issue, or the gaming community has an issue, is Microsoft created a product and they did not make the decisions to make that product good through the power of games. Okay? We're not talking future plans. You see, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about generations of consoles. And these consoles have shelf life. And what I mean by shelf life is, sure, if you're a retro gamer, you could always play these consoles, so and so. But the support they gets cut off after a certain point. That is called generational. That is generations. When the industry pretty much moves on to the next generation of platform, that's how gaming moves forward. And that's how we get better graphics, better fidelity, improved gameplay. We all know it. Look at all the generations that we moved on from. You can see Atari. This is the Master System. See the Nintendo NES right there, right? Then if you go on, you can see PlayStation, Saturn. These are generational consoles. And as we move on from generation to generation, the older generation gets left behind. So we have a shelf space. Or shelf life for each of these consoles in terms of how long the support has. Now, I want to show you a video of the creators of Xbox so you can see how important games are when it comes to this platform. Take a listen. This is G4 Icons. I will put the link in the description if you want to see the full thing. Very informative. Listen.
Xbox successfully launched in time for Christmas 2001. The future of the system now lies in the hands of the developers.
Well, I think that the number one thing that we wanted to achieve was for people who got an Xbox to just be blown away. That has to be the ultimate goal, right? You know, we talked to the people in line in New York, and they were really excited about Xbox.
The first Christmas, all the hardcore gamers are going to go out and they're going to buy it because they got it. It's new. It's exciting. There's a lot of press about it. They got to see if it really lives up to the hype.
But you don't want to take it home and like open it up and have it. And that actually happened with a couple of other console launches, right? People got excited with the technology. You take it home, and of course, technology isn't enough, right? It goes on and makes the boot noise, and then you put in a game that's not so great, and you're like, whoa, they went $300.
You can swear that conversation was just said last week. You bought a console, you boot it up, and you put in a game, and you're like, whoa, what the hell is that? I just wasted my money. Like, literally. How does that not apply what's happening now? That's his concern. He literally, the father of Xbox, said that is a concern. That a gamer will buy your box. And he said, and the crazy part is he said it happened, which has. This was done, like, when was this video done? 10 years ago. And he's talking about his viewpoint on consoles, right? You buy a product, you put it on, and if the game's not impressive, gamers will feel like they wasted their money. And keep in mind, this is philosophy on the OG Xbox, 2001.
Oh, that was awesome.
They have to feel incredibly happy about it.
The thing sold out everywhere, and it was just, a giant success. The real question on any console is how it does in subsequent years, especially the second Christmas.
That's really important. That's when, to some extent, the real battle happens. Because everybody has a lot of units out there, a lot of consoles, and the generation of games that come out into that installed base appear.
So what happens in the later years is really kind of dependent on the quality of the games. That is something that's, just a very magical and very difficult thing to predict in advance.
And then it's a real creative contest, right? Then it's not about the specs of the hardware. It's not about how cool your TV campaign is. It's not about any of those things. It's about which games you have and are your fans happy or not. So I would argue the real worker is then.
If you got a great game and it's only available on Xbox and it's the thing that everybody's excited about, then they're going to go out and buy Xboxes.
And that is what we are trying to tell you Xbox influencers, you Xbox fanboys, you just whatever. All of you who are damage controlling this is what we're trying to impress upon you. It's not about marketing. It's not even about where you can play the game. It's about the games you do play. Whether you do it on a TV, or you do it on a phone, or you do it on a console. What game is making me want to play on anything? If you have a great game, and it's the game everybody wants to play, you're gonna get an Xbox. And if that means playing it on a phone, playing on a tablet, whatever. Whatever method Microsoft is trying to push, it starts with the games. It has always started with the games. So this conversation of the green guy being a better green guy than the blue guy, that I don't even know what he's talking about, right? Because PlayStation, right, ain't really doing anything that's blue, right? Sure, you could say the specific titles they make is the identity, right? And the deals they make and the deals they go after forms an identity. Like Final Fantasy, when you think of Final Fantasy, God of War, Gran Turismo 7, things like that, yeah, that's a PlayStation identity specific to the actual IP. But the fundamental concept of creating great games, that is not unique to any platform. That is just general philosophy. Every platform holder should have that core value. Create the best games possible and you will draw the crowd to you. The problem is those who are trying to let Xbox know, like, hey, this is the problem. You're not creating the bangers. You're not creating or trying to compete for these Game of the Year level titles that make people say, hey, you making a great game. Everybody wants to play this great game. We're all going to go on your platform to play this great game. Your damage controllers and all of you who are capping, you are trying to feed us this nonsense of, oh no, Microsoft can't focus on that. They got to focus on delivery and in the future. Well, let me help you out on why it's nonsense on what you're talking about. It is complete BS. The reality is this. This is consoles. This is what we're talking about. What you're talking about, what you Xbox influencers are talking about, what you Xbox podcasts are talking about, anybody, and yes, any one of you that bring up the future of Xbox, you are not talking about gaming. You're talking about stocks. That's what you're talking about. When you're talking about the future and the growth is stocks. It means you bought stock. You didn't buy a console. You bought stock. Because if you bought a console, right, then that means you bought a physical device. You see right there on the screen. And that physical device has a shelf life. It's not going to be here forever. It's only going to have a support for a couple of years, which is for the generation. And while you own that box, you want that box to entertain. So if you pay $500 for that box, then what you need to get out is the entertainment that that box can provide, not a future picture of where the company goes. Because if you're worried about a future picture, you should have bought this. You should not have bought an Xbox Series X. You should have bought stock. Stock. The conversation of stock is the future. 2035, whatever. So you can make money. Right? Right now, who are we talking with? Are we talking to the gamer? Or are we talking to business people? The guy on the left is the one that bought the console. And as you can see, he is not happy. While the guy on the right, he's looking to the future, is optimistic. You guys are more like the guy on the right. Yet you want to be gamers in the gaming community having gaming conversations. But you're talking about future prospects. If you want to talk about future prospects, then don't talk about being a console gamer. Talk about being a stockholder. And just say that. Say, hey, I'm a stockholder. This is my perspective. But when gamers are having conversations, when gamers are talking about the dissatisfaction on their console, on this that they bought. They bought this. They didn't buy this. Understand the two lanes. So when you talk about the future, fine, business. But what about the now? What about this? Because this only serves one purpose. The purpose of this is not the future. This is about the now. Especially we're in 2023. Maybe if we were in 2020 when the console launched, all right, you got to give it a little bit of time, to give it its reps. But this 2023, there's not much time left. You do realize by 2027, right? This console generation can end in 2027, which is 7 years. That means in 2026, we could start hearing about the next generation of consoles. In 2026, you only got 3 years to fully realize what this thing can do and the type of entertainment it's going to bring. PlayStation already solidified it. In fact, PlayStation 5 has done a phenomenal job almost across the board with new IPs, with showing what the new technology can do. I mean, to this day, Sony's the one that showed what a console can do with VR and 120 hertz capability. They found ways to improve frame rates, get 10% performance boost. They even unlocked some games. For example, Spider-Man, Miles Morales. You can play the game in quality mode unlocked. And performance tests have been done to show that it runs up to 60 frames. Quality mode with ray tracing, 60 frames. All because of the implementation of VRR and 120 hertz. PlayStation 5, Sony's doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing to the consumer who paid money for the console. It has a shelf life. So you got to get it kicking gear and do the best you can. So don't talk to us as if we're talking about this. We are not talking about this. We're talking about generations of consoles that have a shelf life. And there's an expectation of what we want from it. And Xbox has not fulfilled that. And I'm sorry to say, my Phil Spencer doesn't have a choice. He doesn't get to run away from it. They made the decision to build that box that you see right there. That box right there, Microsoft built it. So they owe a responsibility to those who bought it. The future plan is irrelevant. People who bought the console don't give a damn about Phil Spencer's future plan. Talk to the shareholders about that. Have that conversation on MSNBC, CNN Money, Yahoo Finance. Have the conversations there. But when you're talking to gamers, they want to know, what are you bringing to the table for this console? And all the technology, full RDNA, mesh shaders, VRS, remember all these terms? When is that going to happen? And when are gamers going to see the benefits from those tools and technologies? That's it. That's the argument. Right? So, for those of you who are right, who are getting into these conversations with these Xbox influencer gamers, and they're trying to bring up cloud gaming in the future, tell them, stop. We're not doing this. This is not what we're talking about. Yes, we get it. We get it. We heard it before. It's not new. We understand. We hear ya. This is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about a vision of the future. We're talking about people who currently spent $500 for these platforms. And what is Microsoft going to do to realize the entertainment out of these boxes now? Not 10 years from now. Let me know what you think. It's your boy Puerto77, and I'm out of here.